Good morning, everyone. I'm Alec Farmer, Chairman of the Arkansas State Highway Commission. First off, I'd like to let the record reflect that all 5 commissioners are here, and we have a quorum for the purpose of conducting business. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 25th business meeting. I'd like to remind everyone speaking today to speak into your microphone and be sure and hit the little button so people at home can hear us. I guess with that, entertain a motion to continue usage of the electronic signatures for signing of the minute orders.
So moved.
Motion in a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will continue to that. Let me get flipped over here. Okay, well, we need to do the first order of business is the minutes from the last meeting. So I assume everybody's had a chance to look those over. And I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now the next item on the agenda is the minute orders. So if you have any questions, we go through these kind of quickly because Dave reads through them. So if you have a question, just speak up and we'll get stopped and get your question answered. Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minute Order 1 simply approves the actions of the Purchasing Committee. Minute Order 2, authorization to print and distribute the new Wildflowers of the Arkansas Roadways brochure. Minute Order 3 gives approval to proceed with the award of the Transportation-Related Research and Workforce Development Grant Program projects, also known as the TRRWDGP. Minute Order 4, authorization to proceed with the awarding of the Arkansas Commercial Truck Safety and Education Program projects as recommended. Minute Order 5 allows the department to evaluate and update the department's noise policy to include the development of a noise abatement program.
I had a quick question on that. I get asked about that from constituents from time to time. How often can a community or an individual request a noise assessment? Is there a limit on that, or?
Well, normally our current process is we do a noise assessment when we build a new project. But what this will do is it will allow us to do a noise assessment after the fact, if you will, without any other without a project going on. So it's a phase 2 approach. Right now we don't do noise assessments unless we have a project associated with it. Is that correct? All right. But this, we're going to open it up a little bit and allow us to do a noise assessment outside of a construction project if there's a big change in the noise level in a community.
The type 2 is for existing roadways. Okay.
Right.
Thanks.
Minute Order 6, this has to do with the carbon reduction strategy that allows for us to adopt our strategy for use as a resource for future transportation planning and implementation.
Okay, I did have a question or comment on that. That is part of the federal bill, the IIJA Act.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's part of the federal government's
Yes,
mandate, I guess.
Right. In order for this money, this new program, and Arkansas is going to get $87 million over the life of the IIJA, and this is just a strategy of how we'll spend that money.
Okay.
And it's just checking one of those boxes to make sure we're eligible to use that funding.
Okay, thank you.
Minute Order 7, we head to District 1, Crittenden County. This minute order authorizes us to identify and acquire the most appropriate property to replace the Crittenden 1 Area Maintenance Headquarters and Resident Engineer's Office 14. That's in West Memphis. Minute Order 8, this minute order applies to District 4, Sebastian County. This calls for the department to identify and acquire the most appropriate property to replace Sebastian 1 Area Maintenance Headquarters in Greenwood. Minute Order 9, in Faulkner County, District 8, it simply approves certain land as surplus property. Minute Order 10, this gives authorization to make improvements at 6 railroad crossings as funds become available.
And that one is 100% federal funding?
Yes, ma'am.
That's wonderful, great.
Minute Order 11, this comes out of Crittenden County, Eastern Arkansas, authorization to enter agreements with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Memphis District, to replace the 15-mile Bayou Bridge on Highway 70 and to replace the 10-mile Bayou Bridge on Highway 131. This is to accommodate a channel widening and clean-out project. Minute Order 12. This minute order covers or includes a few Arkansas counties. It calls for the authorization to dual sign portions of certain highway segments as U.S. Highway 78. Minute Order 13 gives authorization to dual sign Highway 412 between Oklahoma State Line and I-49 as future Interstate 42. Minute Order 14 in District 10, Craighead County, calls for removing Highway 230, Section 10 from the state highway system as part of a partnering agreement with Craighead County.
I'd like to say something here. This is something new we're working on. We've done partnering with cities and counties, local governments before. Craighead County has a very successful bridge replacement program, and so that's another opportunity for partnering now. And we're working with Craighead County Judge Marvin Day. I know he's here. I was just going to recognize him. There he is. Thank you, County Judge Day. But he's here. Actually, item 12 deals with Craighead County and a few other counties. Item 14 obviously deals with Craighead County, and item 16 is the Craighead County. So just wanted to recognize him and thank him for being here, and just make those comments about the partnering agreement.
Minute Order 15, Woodruff County. This calls for the naming of a portion of Highway 269 south of McCrory as the Johnny Kyle Memorial Highway. Minute Order 16 in District 10. This authorizes naming the Highway 226 Railroad Overpass west of Jonesboro as the John Michael Cameron Overpass. And Minute Order 17, a late ad. I believe, Commissioners, you received email on this yesterday. Minute Order 17 allows the department to proceed with a study on the truck traffic flow in the city of Magnolia, Columbia County, to assess the need and feasibility of a Magnolia bypass. And that concludes the minute orders, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Now I'd like to hear from our Chief Financial Officer, Patrick Patton, to give the State Highway report on funding, and revenues and expenses.
Good morning. To start off, this is the first report for the state fiscal year of '24. There's a couple of new slides to wait, I guess, to keep you awake from normal routine. Commissioners had asked for budgeted versus actual expenses, so this first slide is the budgeted versus actual expenses for the budget category. And what I mean by budget category is if it falls under the director, chief of administration, chief in construction, et cetera, kind of the O-chart titles. Through September, the admin expense was 1.1 or 19% above budget. That's timing. Most of this is timing. The budgeted number is taking their operating expense and dividing it by 12 because we don't have enough history right now to be able to use past months to take into account purchasing cycles. We had some contracts due the first 3 months of the year. Pre-construction, just 100,000 over. Operations, 2.4 million. Overall, we're 1.4 million under budget, or 3%. Yes, Phil.
I'm confused. I can't find the page on my deal here that you're on there. For some reason.
Go to your presentation.
Here.
It's a different.
This may be for procurement, but when does the salt come in, and when are you anticipating that expense, Patrick?
It's pretty much year-round now.
Whenever it's available?
Whenever it's available. We actually started getting some salt reimbursements in July.
Okay.
So it's pretty much year-round now.
All right, I think we're ready
yeah.
to proceed.
We got our technology worked out? Okay. The second slide is just, it's a different slice of the budgeted versus actual expenses. This is going by our old maintenance, operations, admin, and budgeted construction categories. Just gives you a different look at how we are performing under these categories. And as you'll see, 1.5 million under and 3.2% under. Moving on to our actual revenue, this chart is a little different also. It includes our Amendment 101 funds now. This slide particularly is revenue regardless of the fund receiving. And I'll explain that one here in a second with Amendment 101. Our gas is up 2.4 million. The Amendment 101 category, which is new, we did not receive any revenue into our operating account last year. It started this year, July 1. But in order to show comparisons that really meant something when it came to revenue, we included all of what we received through the first 3 months of Amendment 101 and compared to what we've received this year through September for Amendment 101. So this will look a little different on the next slide, and I'll explain that here in a second. So we're flat there on the Amendment 101. We're up a little bit from last year on registration, permits, flat for other. Natural gas, we're down 14 million. As y'all remember, been saying we've had some great years. Let's kind of be happy for that because there may be a downturn. Looks like we're in that downturn now. So overall, we're 10 million below last year, or 5.1%. The interest is starting to come in sooner than it did last year also. The next slide will show the budgeted versus actual. Motor fuels about 2.2 million above budget. Amendment 101, once again, we're showing what we budgeted versus what we're actually getting. The difference here is I anticipated or did not take into account that we may only get a half a month of Amendment 101 funding the first month of the year of July, and that's actually what happened. Is half of the sales tax went to our CAP program, which it had always been attributed to. The other half came to our operating fund. So we received 22 million overall, but for our operating account is what we budget for. We only received 11 million, so that explains that difference there. Natural gas, once again, is down 10.2 million from budget. The budget, we actually gave it a 25% haircut at the beginning, so it's even less than what we had anticipated. So that's taken into account that we made some assumptions that it would be lower. Overall, total revenues are down 20.7 million, or 10.6%. Act 416, is flat. We've got 15.9 million in motor fuel, electric hybrid fees 700,000. Casino tax we'll get at the end of June 30 of 24. So we're 400,000 over what we received last year through the first 3 months. The next one is Act 416 budgeted versus actual. Same thing. It's flat, 400,000 above budget and 2.5% above. Moving over to consumption. Overall consumption's up 27.6 million for the first 3 months over last year. 22 million in gasoline and 5.6 million in diesel. So overall 27.6 million or 4.9%. If you take the last slide, if you take the rolling 12 months, which is 12 months from today and then 12 months previous, it's fairly flat, 2.4% increase in gas over those time periods, 2.69% in diesel. Overall, it's 55.1 million gallons or 2.48%. Any questions?
Thank you for the report, Patrick.
Thank you.
Now we'll turn the remainder of the meeting over to Director Tudor. So Lori, you want
All right.
to take it away?
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Next up, I've asked Kevin Thornton, our Chief of Administration, to give you a federal and state legislative update.
Thank you, Director Tudor. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we are now in federal fiscal year 2024, which began on October 1st. Congress was not able to reach an agreement on an appropriations bill for the entire year. They were able, at the last minute, to reach an agreement on a continuing resolution, or CR, that provides funding until November 17th. As I'm sure you are aware, there are other matters that have the attention of Congress and the President at this time. However, we are hopeful that they will be able to reach an agreement for a full year's appropriation. If not, the nation will need another CR to keep all aspects of the government running. If Congress is not able to reach an agreement on a full year's appropriation bill or even a CR, then the government would be in a shutdown. However, because a significant majority of our funding is provided from the Highway Trust Fund, our operations would not be affected by the shutdown. Our construction projects would continue as usual, and we would also be able to continue developing other projects. Now, there has been a new development this morning in the Senate that I just learned about. The Senate has reached an agreement on 3 appropriation bills, and one of those is the transportation bill. So that's very good news coming out of the Senate. They expect to begin working to vote on that this week and maybe even wrap it up next week. So that's another positive step forward for entering into 2024. Director Tudor, that concludes my report.
Kevin?
Yes.
Hey, the transportation bill you're referring to has some earmarks for different projects in the state, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay.
It does, and so far, we don't know of any changes that have been made to it. At the same time, nothing's been passed yet. As soon as it will, we'll definitely keep you apprised of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, I'd like to ask Crystal Woods to come up and give you an update on our efficiency review implementation.
Good morning. Thank you, Director Tudor. As Director Tudor said, I'd like to give you a brief update on our continued efforts to implement the 13 recommendations from the Arkansas Legislative Council efficiency study of the department. These are just a few examples of the progress we reported to the Highway Commission Review and Advisory Subcommittee in September and October. So recommendation 3 said we should publish the status of construction projects and maintenance activities. In August, the proposed contract with Garver LLC was reviewed by the Highway Commission Review and Advisory Subcommittee, and the contract was executed by the director in September. Recommendation number 4 said we should implement a platform that tracks all stakeholder inquiries to resolution. On September 22nd, 2023, a coming soon video was posted on our social media platform announcing that a new inquiry tracking system would soon be available for public use. And just over a week later, Ask RDOT was officially made available to the public. Recommendation number 6 said we should implement construction contractor performance measurement. Metrics that define quality and desired performance of a prime contractor have been identified, and 7 projects have been selected for a pilot application. These contractors were informed of the process and agreed to participate, and all 7 jobs are expected to be completed by spring 2024. And as reported at the last commission meeting, we've also been working with the Arkansas Department of Inspector General's Office of Internal Audit to help that office fulfill its obligation under the law to conduct an annual review and efficiency study of the department. Their first annual report was submitted to the Legislative Council in late August. Overall, the report was positive and recognized RDOT for making substantial progress in implementing the Guidehouse recommendations. They concurred with our reported implementation status for 85 of the 90 rules reviewed, and they're continuing to review the remaining 5 rules during the current reporting cycle. The state auditors also concluded that RDOT has well-designed internal controls in place, and they recognized our internal audit division for continuously implementing the control self-assessment. Are there any questions?
I had a question on the publication of the status of construction projects and maintenance activities. Where is that being published at? Is that on our iDrive Arkansas app or on the website?
Well, we've got a contract with Garver, and they're going to be working through all that and how we present that to the public. It will be on our website. It will be probably through iDrive anywhere you go, but they're going to be, that's part of their job, is to show how best to present that information.
Okay. Well, I know iDrive has so much information on it at our fingertips that I just don't know that people realize all the functions it has. And I know
Right.
one of the functions is construction projects and
Right.
beginning dates and ending dates and things like that. So
Yeah, we're not going to recreate the wheel, but we're going to use what we have, but it's
Okay.
going to be so much more comprehensive. We'll figure out how best to get that out to the public.
okay, thank you.
So, can I ask a question for Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
So, are you talking about Ask RDOT?
No.
That's not functional?
No, because
Okay.
I've got something coming up.
Oh, okay. So what is it you're talking about then?
Just
Uh,
recommendation number 3, so we're talking about publishing the status of construction projects.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that's something different. But
Okay.
Ask RDOT, I'm glad you set me up. You teed me up,
A
Philip. You're
segue
so
in
good at
for
that.
later.
Very good segue.
Save that question for a minute. Yeah, that's right.
So, as you heard from Crystal, we recently launched our new public inquiry tracking system, recommendation number 4. And so this was the teaser video that we pushed out, and I wanted to play it for you this morning. This is before we launched it, so it's getting everybody ready and excited about it. Okay, so that was the teaser video, and we put that out there, and then we also have this QR code and the logo that we developed. We have such a great graphic design team through our communications division. They put this together. This QR code will take you directly to this spot where you can put in your question. And then we created a video of how to, so I'm going to play that for you.
I ask you a question before you leave that?
Yeah.
So how did they get the answer back?
We have full-time folks that are monitoring that and getting them an answer, at least acknowledging their question and getting back to them as quickly as they
Like
can.
email or text message or something like that?
Yeah, well,
Just
through-
email or?
I'm probably going to get ahead of you. Should I get ahead of you?
Well, I mean,
It's a little intuitive too, so if you put in, I messed around with it yesterday, that's how old my knowledge is through yesterday. But if you put it, when you put in your question, it'll pop up on the side, some suggested answers, and there's a great section of FAQs on there. It's really, we can ask all the questions, we can just register all the inquiries we want. It'll be taken up with all the commissioners instead of the general public.
That's right.
well, interestingly enough, we did an internal testing starting in February. So any kind of question that we had, we entered into the system. And since February, there's been 5,000 questions. When we rolled this out a few weeks ago, we've gotten 153 questions from the public outside the department. But I think it's going to be well received and used well. But let me play this video. It tells you how to do it.
Have you ever wondered what's the latest on a construction project or how to report a pothole? Maybe you feel there should be better highway signage or that maintenance is needed along an interstate. RDOT has a brand new, streamlined way for you to get in touch with us and ask questions. It's called Ask RDOT. Here's how it works in 3 easy steps. Go to rdot.gov and click the Contact Us tab. There, you'll see a link to the customer service portal known as Ask RDOT. Either log in or create a profile if you're new to the system. We promise this isn't the kind of thing that sends you annoying emails all the time. Having an account allows you to log back in and check the status of your inquiry, ask additional questions, and so on. Choose from a drop-down list of categories. Choosing the right category is important because it will ensure your question is directed to the right person to answer it. It's as easy as that. Once you've submitted your inquiry, you'll get an email confirmation with a reference number, which you can use to monitor the status of your inquiry. Ask RDOT allows you to communicate back and forth as necessary until your question is answered. Serving the citizens of Arkansas is a top priority for RDOT. Our intention with Ask RDOT is to make your customer service experience easy, thorough, and timely. We're here for you.
It's pretty cool. I think I'm really proud of it. Our communications division's done an excellent job. They've taken that and ran with it, and I'm really proud of how it's turned out. So, all right, moving on. I'm going to ask Kelly Wiley to come up and give us a report on our bid lettings.
Thank you, Director Tudor. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, since your last meeting in August, we have held 2 successful bid lettings in both August and September, where 17 projects were awarded, totaling over $226 million. Also, since last November, the Department's 2023 Pavement Preservation Program has awarded 87 projects, totaling more than $550 million, and providing improvements to over 815 miles of state highways. In August, we awarded 8 projects for $89 million. There were 18 bids submitted from 12 different contractors. In September, we awarded 9 projects for $138 million. There were 26 bids submitted from 21 different contractors. For the 9 total projects, bids were received on all projects and all projects were awarded. Starting off, it's okay. This $45 million project awarded in August will widen Highways 270 and 365 Spur to 5 lanes from Highway 365 in Pine Bluff west to Highway 104. With the 705 calendar days bid on this project, this work should be completed in late 2025. This next project will replace 2 Interstate 40 overpasses at Highway 31 in Lone Oak and Highway 13 in Carlisle. The City of Lone Oak has partnered with the department and has provided funding to construct a shared use path on the new Highway 31 bridge over the interstate. This next project will resurface most of the I-30 frontage road system between Highway 70 in Saline County and 65th Street in Little Rock. This project will also rehabilitate 6 bridges along the corridor. The majority of this work will be conducted at night to reduce traffic impacts. With the time bid by the contractor, this work should be completed by late next year. Moving to the west, this next project will construct additional passing lanes on Highway 7 between Caddo Valley and Hot Springs. 2 passing locations will be added both northbound and southbound. Along with the passing lanes, a portion of Highway 7 in Caddo Valley, just north of the interstate, will be resurfaced. This work should also be completed by mid-2026. Just north of the recently opened Hot Springs Bypass Extension, this $12 million project will provide improvements to enhance safety through this segment of the Highway 5 corridor. These improvements should be completed by mid-2027. Next, I will discuss this $6 million pavement preservation project on Interstate 30. This project will resurface the interstate between the Social Hill Rest Area and the Washita River in Malvern. This work will be performed overnight to minimize traffic disruptions and should be completed by the middle of next year. I want to end with the largest job awarded in these 2 lettings. This project will construct intelligent transportation system enhancements on various freeways in central Arkansas and the I-40 corridor between North Little Rock and West Memphis. These enhancements will include 39 new dynamic message signs and 32 new highway cameras to provide information to the traveling public. 34 radar detection sites to assist in planning and travel time estimations, and wrong-way crash detection systems will be installed at 161 sites. Joseph Hawkins, our state ITS engineer, will provide more detailed information for you in just a moment. This project will be completed by mid-2025. Looking ahead, 48 projects estimated at $665 million have been advertised for the November 1st bid letting next week. 45 of these projects are highway projects and 3 are state aid. This letting will include 26 projects to kick off the department's 2024 pavement preservation program. This concludes my report, Director Tudor.
Thank you, Kelly. Lots of work getting started around the state. Any questions before we move on? So that ITS project has the wrong way crash detection system that I've asked our state ITS engineer. Oh, there you are. Actually, I went to a planning conference and I saw Joe's giving this presentation, and I said, "You've got to do this for the commission." It was so fabulous. So I want y'all to see what we've been doing as far as wrong way crash detection.
Lori,
I think Phil has a question.
I have one question before you move.
All right.
Do you use this information from these monitors and all of this does that translate into rehab and planning for rehab jobs and all of that along the corridor? Jared, we were talking about that the other day, and you said that there's different sections that are planned rehabilitation and things on 40. Is there a way to use that information to make the
This is
plans?
What we're talking about here is traveler information. It's not roadway conditions and things like that. We have a whole nother system that measures the roughness and the need to do additional preservation
So this
work.
doesn't have anything to do with...
No, this is more front-facing for the travelers, so they know as they're traveling on the road.
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
I'm
so I'm
good.
going to, okay. So I'm going to, so Joseph Hawkins, state ITS engineer. is going to give you a really cool presentation.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to be here to talk about some new technology that we've installed on a research project, and it's going to be installed on an upcoming project. So back in August, Systems, Information, and Research and Maintenance divisions partnered together to install 2 wrong-way detection systems. The systems include thermal cameras to detect cars. There's a control cabinet with a computer inside of it. Some message boards that look like these right here that have LEDs along the border. They don't flash right now. It also has video cameras to capture what the vehicle make model is, so it'll help the traffic operations center figure out what's going on. The research project selected this location here. This is in North Little Rock. This is Highway 165 and I-440. And what this is a partial cloverleaf 2-quadrant AB. And the committee selected this site because nationally this is known to have a higher incident of wrong-way drivers. And so we had one here. Now, in Arkansas, we didn't have any indication that we were having a problem here. It was just nationally this was an issue, so we were going to put it there. And you can sort of see what might be causing the driver some issues is that the on and off ramp are right next to each other, and they're only separated by a median barrier. So there could, a slight confusion, and they take the wrong pipe, and they're going the wrong way. This is an image of what a thermal camera looks like. The benefit of using a thermal camera is that it works in all weather conditions, including fog. Of course, right here, an interesting feature which you can see on our demo right here in the lobby is that the sign is illuminated at night because there is some indication that some drivers are not turning on their headlamps at night, and so if we have static signs out there, they don't actually see it. So we're actually providing that illumination for them as an added benefit. Now, we got the systems installed, and so they got validated. The validation process is we drive vehicles backwards. Of course, we had the ramps closed. We did multiple size vehicles, different speeds to really thoroughly test it, and so then it was ready to go. And so then we're just, waiting for that event. Of course, we don't hope it happens, but lo and behold, in the first week, we had our first wrong way detected driver. So in this case, it happened during the day, which is rare because most wrong way drivers happen at night, and that's nationally and in Arkansas. The driver self-corrected, so that was good, but the TMC did get the warning. It sends off an alarm. They immediately start getting pictures of what's going on, and they start reaching out to our first responders like Arkansas State Police. And then within the second week, we had our second wrong way driver. So you can see here it's at night, and when you see the light pop on, that's the system triggering, and it starts flashing the signs. This is the first detection zone. This is the second detection zone, and you can see in the back the signs are flashing, but unfortunately the driver did not stop. Now, of course, we reached out to state police, and they sent someone out there to try to identify and find the person. There was no recorded wrecks that night. They were not found, no further 911 calls, so we suspect that the driver self-corrected at the 440. Did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, the question is, on those cameras, do we not have any license plate camera or any way to identify the plate?
Not with this system. So I'll replay this video because it wasn't just that first car. You notice the car behind him followed him, but that car actually did self-correct, and that car actually flashed their lights to try to get the attention of the driver in front of him. So that's 2 incidents in 2 weeks, so 3 cars. Well, by week 3, we had another one. And so what I want you to see here is when the system goes off, notice the driver immediately changes the behavior. So we got this driver to realize they were going the wrong way and to self-correct. So this could have been a car that entered into the main lanes, and it could have been an accident. So I'm glad the system is working. We can see it. Again, in the background, you can kind of see the signs flashing back there. So we've had 3 separate events, and then we had another event, still within the month of August. Now this one, you'll notice that the driver is going pretty fast. When the system triggers, you'll see about a second later he puts on the brake, and then they self-correct by going through the median. So, but you notice that at that speed, if we had not informed that driver he was going the wrong way, even if he didn't make it all the way on to 440, a car exiting at the exiting speed plus his speed, that would have been a serious accident. So we've got 2 proven cases where the technology worked and we got drivers to self-correct. Go ahead, sir.
Where's the sign on this?
Oh.
Where's the sign that's flashing to alert
Wait,
the-
there's a set right there, and then there's a set outside of view right here.
Okay. Where
Yeah,
is it?
and it's the same signs that we have over here in the corner.
So is that flashing?
Yeah, along the border right there, you can sort of see the little buttons along the edge.
Yeah.
It looks like there's 8 of them. Those flash
Those are going off.
when it's triggered. Now, the wrong way is lit up all night,
Yeah.
but it's turned off during the day, the illumination portion. So we've had our 4th event in the month of August, and then we ended up having a 5th event. But this one was a self-correct early on. And so we were trying to figure out, what is going on? What can we do? We got this nice technology, but is there anything more we could do? And so thinking about the issue, we were thinking, well, possibly the driver is seeing the right turn channelization as one direction, and then the through plus left is the other direction. So they're thinking, oh, that's 2 lanes, and they're picking the wrong lane. But using this technology, because we get the video, we actually saw that no, it was actually the case they were just making an early left turn. So 3 out of the 4 that we were able to capture that video showed they're actually using the right turn channelization. So that was counterintuitive. So then we were thinking, what can we do? We need some kind of barrier so that they stay in the left turn lane long enough to finally see the other side, the side they're supposed to take. And so we reached out to District 6 engineer, Mr. Tony Evans, and we asked him, could you go out and put up some snapback delineators? And he did that. And the good thing to note here is once that's been installed, we've not had another wrong way at this location. So that right there is a wonderful treatment that we can apply. Now, it's not a panacea because they can still make a wrong way from the other direction, and they can still make a wrong way if they make a hard left into the wrong pipe. But because that showed such promise, we actually worked with the GIS and Mapping Division and located all other partial clover leaves in Arkansas, plus some similar locations that have kind of similar layout where the exit and on-ramp is right next to each other. And so we've asked the district engineers to go ahead and put those snapback delineators in at those locations. So our test site is already bearing fruit to improve wrong way incidents in Arkansas. And of course, this ends with the big project that was recently awarded. We call it the 40 East project in our group, but it's the 012410. And it's going to be installing, as mentioned by Ms. Kelly Wiley, 161 wrong way detection systems at the ramps all around central Arkansas and between Little Rock and Memphis. Now, something I want to add is that, we had those 5 in the month of August at our test site, but in that same month, we had a wrong way driver at Burns Park on 440. And what's notable about this one is that it was a 911 call. We hear about it from state police. Our TMC starts trying to track where is this driver. They were actually able to spot the driver and report to the state police that, yes, it is an actual wrong way driver. They passed by this point, and so state police was rushing out there to try to stop them. But of course, unfortunately, it ended in an accident. Now, there were no fatalities, but there was an injury. But what's notable is that once they secured the individual in the scene, they ended up arresting the individual because it was an impaired driver, which nationally, that is one of the biggest factors of wrong way driving is impairment, along with mostly happening at night. Also in the month of August, there was another wrong way, and this was at Lone Oak. And so, but this was not the partial cloverleaf, this was just a normal off-ramp. The driver took that. They were driving on the shoulder. State police was able to stop them, but it did end up causing an accident because drivers, I guess, were so shocked that a car was coming at them on the shoulder, they end up having a wreck. No fatalities, but it was a multi-vehicle. But when the officer asked the person, "What are you doing here?" they said, "I don't know. I don't know how I got here." So impairment also includes cognitive. So this was an elderly driver. So those are the main types of drivers that we have. We have pure mistakes. We have impaired driving with cognitive and drug and alcohol. At both of those locations, we're going to have this wrong way detection system to provide protection for that. And then since then, and this was little under 2 weeks ago, we've had another wrong way on 440, and it had 2 fatalities. So we are having wrong way drivers, and again, the systems that we're installing will cover that area as well. And we're going to learn more from these systems that will help us and further inform us, like we did with the snapback delineators, that maybe we can do something additional to try to reduce the wrong way driving issue. But that concludes my presentation.
So I've got a question. The thermal camera, so it triggers the sign. Does it also send an alert to the police that we've had an incident?
Yes, so it sends alert to TMC, but we've also, the Traffic Management Center. It's here in the basement of the main building. It sends an alert to them, but we've also partnered with Arkansas State Police, so they have access to the same system. Now, to them, they're a 911 center, so they're receiving calls. So we're watching it, but they get the same alert, and then we start talking together to try to mitigate the issue. So yes.
So our communication system here can let them know in real time,
Yes.
oh, the person turned around. And I would hope either way, it would still trigger.
Yes, it triggers in all incidences when you have a wrong way driver, but of course the important part is we have to check, because you did see that only 1 out of the 5 continued on. So with these type of systems, you're going to catch a lot of those self-correctors. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to send out your forces every time. This was a lesson learned by other DOTs and other state police agencies, that the system will pick up everything, and it doesn't differentiate between self-correction and those who keep going. So as soon as it goes off, all parties are watching the video to try to figure out what's going on and what should we do about it. Now, moving forward, and this is in addition to what this ramp level is, we're working on integrating our existing camera fleet into this system, so when it triggers, it automatically pulls up all the other camera feeds for us, and it will pop up, and we can then much easier track it. But that's a part of a software rollout that we're doing with IT called SWERI, but that's independent of this ramp level.
Yeah, I'd want it to, I mean, you'd have to see what's going on in the other states that have implemented this, as you said, but I'd be really interested in even the people who are self-correcting, because they're doing something to make a wrong, there's some reason they made a wrong decision, whether it's carelessness or impairment.
Right.
Even if they self-correct, there still could be a danger.
Yeah, that's true. So, you know, Arkansas, we have to put out a wrong way crash report, but that report is dealing with crashes. If you don't know what's been going on, it's like those 5 wouldn't have been counted because it didn't involve a crash. So I think with all this new technology, we may see that it happens perhaps more often than we realized, but now we'll be aware of it and maybe we can do more about it.
What's the timeline for implementing this in other parts of the state?
Right now, it's just this one project, and of course, its completion date is August of 2025. I guess we'd have to work with leadership to figure out what the next step is.
No plans currently to implement this anywhere else?
No, eventually, we'd love for the whole state to have this, but it's a matter of
Well, you
budgeting.
can do it.
Huh?
You can do it.
Well, is it all over the state in the partial clover leaves, though?
The delineators have been installed all over the state.
Delineators, okay.
I've got a question. Number one is, how many wrong way accidents are there in the state?
Well, in the last report, it was 21 that we had.
Over
21
the whole state?
Over the whole state. But that was a multi-year report. But of course, recall that those are only the ones that ended up in an accident that ended up in a police report. but there's,
Well, those are the most important, I guess.
well, right, wrong way crashes usually result in a fatality because of the speeds.
You know, Marie mentioned something, and we've got a situation, well, exactly like this. I don't know of any wrong way crashes involved in that, but as a driver, and I'm by there a lot, there's so much going on there that you've got a vehicle coming this direction that's wanting to make a left-hand turn and get on the interstate. Then you've got somebody else sitting here that's wanting to make a left-hand turn to continue, and it's on a hill, kind of a grade like this, and I'm sitting there, and there's so much to look at. It's very difficult for me that's really trying to pay attention to where you're supposed to go, because both of those are side by side, and there's one concrete deal that separates them. And that's kind of a treacherous situation all the time. In fact, we're doing a study now to see if we can get, if it qualifies for a light, a traffic light there. But those type of situations, do you see many crashes in other types of situations other than this configuration here?
I have no data on that yet, but the system will show us that. We have several types of interchanges on this project, so we'll have a good across the field view.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Great presentation. Next up, I have Rex Vines, our Chief Engineer for Operation, to talk about maintenance activities across the state.
Thank you, Director, Mr. Chairman, Commission. I am honored to showcase what I believe is the most important function, yet often most underappreciated function of the department. As you all well know, maintenance is a key to preserving our infrastructure assets in their best condition, ensuring our roadways are safe, convenient, and resilient every day and for generations to come. What you see here on the slide in front of you is just a fraction of the activities that our maintenance forces take on every day and to keep our system in good shape. To accomplish this monumental task, our operations branch has a maintenance crews in 75 counties, all 75 counties, organized in 10 maintenance districts. In addition to the county crews, each district has a bridge crew, a general maintenance crew, a sealing crew, a sign crew, and a shop crew. In the following slides, I'll give you a brief highlight of the routine maintenance and activities and accomplishments that our maintenance crews perform. We all know potholes all too well, or as we call them in operations, opportunities, as they are the most common repair RDOT performs. Now, most envision pothole repair as throwing some mix in a hole and packing it down and leaving, but you'll see in the next video that there's much more to pothole repairs. That is a temporary, throwing the hot mix in is a temporary solution until we can fix it correctly. And so you can see this is very manually intensive. And also I'd like to point out where they're working. The traffic is just right close by. So this is not only a tough job, it is a dangerous job. An accomplishment for this year, from January 1 to September, through September this year, maintenance has accomplished 11,500 cubic yards of pothole patching. You've also probably seen some of this activity out there. RDOT crews repair our bridge decks when we hit holes in our decks. This is a As you can see, a very labor-intensive operation, and once again, I'd like to note the closeness of the traffic. Our crews in this year have repaired 26,500 square yards of bridge deck patching. That's equivalent to over 4 football fields. Another function RDOT crews perform is asphalt leveling, most often in conjunction with chip seals. Leveling is performed on our highways for rutting, heavily cracked, large dips or bumps, and just needed to smooth out where we patched potholes. This is a little different than what you'll see as a contractor do, where a contractor is laying a uniform level. We are correcting minor deficiencies in the road when we do this. And since January, from January to September, our maintenance crews have placed 120,000 tons of hot mix for leveling across the state. And now to our most popular activity, chip seals. Each year RDOT funds a statewide district resurfacing program in which we do leveling and chip seal our lower volume routes to help maintain them and extend the life a little longer. Chip seal work is usually done during the hot, dry months for best performance. This map shows the work that our maintenance forces have done over the past 5 years in leveling and sealing. As you can see, we've covered almost 2,500 miles across the state over the past 5 years. One of the other things that we do to help maintain our roads is maintain drainage in our system, is to keep our ditches flowing and keep water away from the surface. You can see here a couple pictures of this one on the right here to Great All, where we use that pretty commonly in the districts to mop the ditches out. We track that accomplishment by cubic yard, and so far this year we have accomplished 46,200 cubic yards of ditch maintenance. And then striping. Striping is another very popular topic with with the public that calls in. And as you know, we make an effort and to restripe the entire system every other year or every 2 years. We have 8 striping crews that travel across the state. And you can see since January, we've striped 5,400, almost 5,400 miles using almost 310 gallons of paint, 1,000 gallons of paint, and 2.2 million pounds of glass beads. We also have more than 600,000 signs on the state highway system. And our sign crew has produced over 39,000 signs through October 1 with only a staff of 9 employees. Now you may wonder, why do we need to produce so many signs? Well, to maintain our adequate reflectivity, we schedule to replace every sign in the state every 15 years. And that's just by federal mandate. So our goal is to cover 1,100 miles of roadway a year to keep that 15-year cycle going. So far this year, we have completed 745 miles and are on strong pace to finish this year on target. Another activity that maintenance does is bridge inspections. RDOT inspects 12,796 bridges across the state, all public bridges. We're responsible for ensuring bridges are inspected according to federal and state guidelines. And bridges are typically inspected every 2 years, although due to condition or the type of structure that may be increased. So far this year, we've done 7,000 topside inspections. And so we are moving strong. Another aspect that our bridge inspection team does is underwater inspection. We have to inspect all aspects of the bridge that we can get to. So we have dive teams that will go down and check for scour and issues below the water. We have performed 45 dive inspections so far this year. One of the other things bridge inspectors note when they do their inspections is not only the condition of the structure, but maintenance needs that we have. You'll see here on the left, we have a structure that has timber piling that are failing. And this is a very heavily load posted bridge that we're looking at. And then on the right, you'll see where we've come in, replaced all the piling with steel H-beam piles, and have extended the life of this structure for decades. We have 15 bridge repair crews across the state. We have performed 612 repairs similar to this so far this year. Here's another example of a repair that one of our bridge crews have made. You see here on the left a significantly deteriorated beam there, and then where they've cut in and spliced in a new structure and extended the life of this bridge as well. This is a very interesting story here. We had there's a stretch of road here with 5 bridges that were in poor condition, low rated, were not really on the radar for replacement, and one really dropped to where we were going to have to close this route, and it was a significant detour. So we, our bridge operations team, teamed up with District 8 and Yale County, and we used a county road as a bypass, and our in-house bridge building crew went in and replaced all 5 bridges and all the decks on all 5 bridges from November 2022 to April of 2023. So in a very short period of time, we've opened this route up and has no restrictions now. In 2022, our in-house bridge replacement, we've replaced 5 poor and obsolete bridges with box culverts. In 23, we have completed 3 additional and have a 4th one in process that we're working on. Now, I'd be remiss at this point if I did not acknowledge Chairman Farmer with these last 2 slides. A brainstorming session with him and District Engineer in Paragould, Brad Smithy, came up with this idea to do an in-house kind of a quick response bridge replacement team, and it has been a great success. And I want to thank the chairman for his idea. Thank the commission for giving us the freedom to pursue this. It's been a real success and has kept several very rural areas open to traffic. One other way that we maintain our structures is with a polymer overlay. We have a polymer overlay crew that travels around the state and applies a 2-part epoxy to lift with epoxy and aggregate. This will extend the life of these bridges for up to 20 years by keeping the salts and out of the deck through the crack. It seals up the cracks. This is a great application. One thing that everybody knows and sees that we do is mowing. RDOT mows approximately 275,000 acres a year. So that's a big task that we use to cover. We do use contractors for about 40% of that mowing, and then we perform the remaining 60%. And then litter removal, litter pickup. It's a big task. As people continue to litter, we continue to pick it up. So RDOT pays for litter through nonprofit organizations, but we also regularly send crews out to pick up litter. We also use the inmate pro litter pickup programs to help offset cost. So far this year, not including contract mow routes, we've collected 15,500 cubic yards of debris. You know, road debris is a constant concern that we have, and its removal is priority for our maintenance crews. Debris and tire blowouts is a common sight on interstates, along with unsecured cargo, vehicle parts, dead animals, just much more. This debris becomes immediate danger to the travelers, particularly in high-speed roadways. Debris removal is a daily task for air maintenance crews on our busy interstates like I-30 and I-40, requiring staff to patrol routes daily in addition to call-outs during all hours reported. With high-volume routes such as I-430, 440, and 630 in the metro area, our Pulaski County crews must send multiple crew members each day to keep up with this task. RDOT utilizes specialized equipment to clear the shoulders and along the median walls, such as road rake, shown in this picture right here. And then we also have invested in additional specialized equipment that Derek Wyatt's going to describe a little later in another presentation, so I don't want to steal his thunder. As you know, Timothy Harris was an employee that was lost his life in May performing this very duty. He'd stepped into the road to get a shovel out to ensure safety for the traveling public, and while serving on our West Pulaski crew on I-430. We want to honor his service, and we are improving our methods of making it safer, not only for the traveling public, but for our employees in this, and to ensure that his loss is not in vain. And we just continue to improve that. We'd like to recognize, I see his mother's in the crowd here, and I'd like to welcome her and family, so thank you. RDOT's maintenance crews are on call 24/7. In response to emergency situations such as rock slides, flash floods, severe weather, tornadoes, even when the weather's clear, we're on call for trees falling, crashes, debris in the road, just things of all that nature. So far this year, RDOT employees have worked 9,000 hours, man-hours of after-hours call-out. So they've been called back to work to make the road safe again. And then we all know winter weather's around the corner. Even though it feels like August outside, we know we've got frost coming as early as I think later this week or next week. We have, Commissioner Holder mentioned earlier, we have approximately 70,000 tons of salt in storage right now, prepared for this winter. We're hosting or conducting a winter weather tabletop exercise on October 31st with our Traffic Management Center, Public Information Center, and district staff to ensure that all our communication lines are open. We'll be sure all of our equipment is ready to go. We have 602 snow plows, 620 salt spreaders in our fleet. So I believe we're as prepared as we can be. And then recruiting. As you know, we're having a labor shortage, so we're starting early. But this is one of the fun things that we not often, but sometimes get to do. And this is a District 7 crew went down to a preschool and just spent some time with them, and hopefully spark some interest on a future maintenance worker. That concludes my report, Director.
Thank you, Rex. Any questions?
Rex, I had a question. I know For a long time, we've not had the adequate funding. We do now. And because of that, we weren't able to maintain all the roads on the system equally well. And there's a portion of the system that we really haven't been able to maintain at all for that, for the most part. Now that we have funds coming in a little bit more, flowing more freely, how are we addressing that 20 to 30% of the system that's really in bad shape? Can those roads be maintained at all, or how are we keeping those together?
In large, it's with the chip seals. We're holding together. I do believe as we continue down this road and we expand our pavement preservation program, that we will expand into those lower volume roads that aren't getting attention now. But as we get the rest of our system in really good condition, we can expand out into that. And so I believe, and I've even heard comments as of late that I believe it was in Garland County, that the people are starting to see the dividends. They're starting to see their roads are in better condition, and that in large is we don't have to spend as much time on the primary route with maintenance. We can spend more time on our non-primary.
Okay. And then I just had one other comment. We try to recognize our employees at the service awards each year, and we tell them how much we appreciate them. But this really brings it home that first responders do an incredible job, but we're really the first responders for the first responders in a lot of cases, whether it's winter weather or floods or tornadoes or just keeping the traffic lanes open from debris and things like that. So
Yes, sir.
Appreciate everything they do, and just want to always remember the work that they do.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rex. Now I'm asked Derek Wyatt, our state maintenance engineer. Today's all about maintenance, but we just held our 2023 Maintenance Supervisors Conference, and I wanted him to give you an update on that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Director Tudor. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commission. Thank you all for having me here this morning to give you kind of an update on our Maintenance Supervisors Conference. This is the second conference we've hosted. Last year was the first. We had the conference at Lake DeGray State Park October 3rd through the 5th, and brought all of y'all a gift bag that has some items that we gave to our supervisors at the conference in there, along with a copy of our program that kind of shows all the different topics and items that we discussed. All right. The conference provided the opportunity for our maintenance supervisors from all 75 counties, our district bridge maintenance, sealing, and sign crews, along with the safety officers, to gather in one place to share ideas, success stories, along with other learning experiences with their peers from across the state. Including the speakers, moderators, and department staff, we had a little over 200 employees at the conference this year. The conference was based on the department's strategic plan and for our first core value, safety, being the primary focus. All of the speakers, presentations, discussions, and breakout sessions were centered around safety at this year's conference. With safety being the focus of this year's conference, we displayed the RDOT Worker Memorial and the ATSA National Work Zone Memorial to honor lives lost in work zones and to reinforce the need for safety on our highways by everyone. Both memorials are currently on display out in the lobby. As part of our safety initiative, we created a safety task force with representation from across the department. One of the first initiatives was implemented by the safety task force was the very short duration VSDO, work zone procedure and safety policy for work such as the removal of debris, as Rex mentioned a minute ago, from our roadways and installation of work zone signage. This policy requires a spotter to watch for traffic and the employee's safety while performing this work and provides for best practices to ensure safety. Large posters, like the one behind me and on the left side of the screen, have been installed at all maintenance crew facilities across the state for our 10-point best practice for debris removal. Another new initiative to improve safety is the development of a safety concern reporting tool shown on the right side of the screen. which allows employees to scan a QR code and report any safety concerns directly to the health and safety section. These concerns and recommendations are then reviewed by the health and safety section head and the district safety teams. It's basically, as soon as an employee fills out the report, it's sent immediately to training and safety, which initiates the review. As Rex mentioned a while ago, RDOT recently purchased 13 lane blade units and are currently being installed on RDOT maintenance trucks for crews that maintain our larger interstates. The lane blade is shown here on the right, and we have one out front for y'all to look at on display this morning that came from our West Pulaski County crew. The cost of each unit is approximately $36,000 for a total investment of $468,000 to improve the safety of our employees and the traveling public for removing debris from the roadways. Purchase of these devices is part of an initiative to improve the safety for everyone involved. RDOT is also purchasing Gator Getter debris removal devices that will be installed on our dump trucks across the state. They're seen here on the left side of the screen. It is more for picking up what we call alligators, which are tire treads from the interstate. The Gator Getter can actually be utilized at regular roadway speed, so we can pick up the gator basically 60, 65 miles an hour, and it stores it into a basket that's on the top side of that Gator Getter, and they can safely remove it from the roadway and dispose of it properly at one of our facilities. Yes, sir. The one on the right is, in normal operation, it is raised up. It is almost like a snowplow, and it has two wings on the outer portions here that have hydraulic actuators. And the vehicle has to be below 20 miles an hour to deploy that, and it has a camera in the center that the operator has a display in the cab so they can actually see the debris in the roadway. They slow down, drop the lane blade down to the ground level, and the wings retract out forward, basically creating a U shape. They can capture the debris and then steer it to the shoulder safely and get it out of the roadway. So it's primarily for our multi-lane, 3-4 lane interstates where we can't safely reach the debris from the shoulder. They can get it from the inside lane and direct it away. And they're utilizing our crash attenuators basically in advance of them to protect them to perform that operation. Yes.
Where it won't drop until it's at that slower speed?
Correct. It's computer controlled where it won't deploy until it reaches that speed.
And it's new technology.
Yes, this technology, the vendor created this for the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and currently we own the most units across the country, so we're one of the first DOTs to get on board, and our order we placed with help from EMP was the largest order they've had to date. So I think we have gotten 7 of them in and waiting delivery of the remaining 6. So.
And I've seen just as a motorist, seen the snow plows try to do this same job, and it just does not work like this because it's not intended for that purpose.
Correct.
We
They're
can do it in
flat
an
all the way across the
emergency,
front.
but it pops up whatever they're scooping. It's not as, and so this is wonderful. I'm glad
Yes.
to see this.
Yeah, the snow plow's made to lift it up and fling it out, so a little different application. Yes, ma'am. All right. Another safety initiative we've got in the works. RDOT recently received approval from the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management, or ADEM, for the use of green flashing lights in conjunction with our amber and white lights for our maintenance and construction vehicles and work zones. This applies to RDOT vehicles and the contractors in our work zones. The addition of green flashing lights will enhance the visibility of our vehicles and work zones, especially during bright daylight and inclement weather. Several other states have authorized the use of green lights, such as Louisiana, Florida, and Mississippi. We've used green lights primarily during winter weather events. We had prior approval for that from ADEM, so only our snowplow trucks, a few of them had green lights prior, but we're in the process of adding the green lights to all of our fleet. All right, next, during our maintenance supervisor conference, we asked districts to bring unique pieces of equipment that the department currently owns to showcase for other districts and supervisors to learn more about. We had 10 pieces in total on display, which included the lane blade, the gator getter, a road rake, a remote control mower, which is in the top center there, a crew cab dump truck with a multi-purpose dump bed, it's the bottom center, and a single axle dump truck with a belly plow, just to name a few. We also had the department's new equipment simulator, shown here in the bottom right, that allowed all the supervisors to get a chance to get on there and test drive that. So, like District Engineer Brad Smithy we couldn't get him off of it, so he really liked it. Also at the conference, we had some time in the evenings for food and fellowship. This included a barbecue competition with teams from all 10 districts, the safety officers, the maintenance division, all demonstrating their expert grilling skills. And we had a distinguished panel of judges for this friendly competition. They all have their barbecue sauce PPE on here in the picture. And I must say we have some pretty good barbecue masters here at the department. So if in their spare time they can all open up a barbecue stand. But the team from District 5 took home first place honors this year, and District 10 won the People's Choice Award, where all the supervisors got to vote for their favorite. And based on the success of last year's and this year's conference, we plan to have one again next year. And we've tentatively scheduled that for September 24th through the 26th at Lake Gray. So it's a great venue. We got a great partnership with Arkansas State Parks, and they do a great job there. So,
Derek, I'd like to volunteer to be a judge on that barbecue cook next year.
We'll got you down.
If you got a spot there.
Yes, sir.
It's harder than it looks.
And we got some other
I
pictures.
think I can handle it.
They're very serious about it, trust me.
We were serious about it.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Director True. That concludes the update.
Thank you, Derek. This conference is really been very well received by our employees and our maintenance supervisors. As you can see by both these presentations, such a large amount of work goes on, but it's unseen work. It's that type of work where if you're doing your job, you never hear a word about it. If you don't do your job, all you hear is criticism. And so to be able to encourage these employees and showcase what they do day in and day out means a lot to all of us. And also this year we've really focused on safety because of what happened. We've lost 3 employees, the latest Timothy Harris, and we are committed as a department to making our operations as safe as they can be, because at the end of the day we want everyone to go home safe. So with that, I don't know what happened when I became director, but it just seems like everything. And so we're going to have a big eclipse. Just a little old eclipse in 2024 where the whole and it's just going to be a phenomenal event, but as a RDOT, it's going to be a phenomenal traffic situation. So I'm going to let Steve talk about that and what we're doing, our efforts to try to mitigate that as much as possible.
All right, good morning, Chairman Farmer, Commission, Director. Glad to be here and give you an update on the solar eclipse. So the state of Arkansas is expected to experience a total solar eclipse on April 8th of 2024. The moon will pass between the sun and the earth, creating over a 100-mile wide shadow that'll enter the southwest tip of Arkansas near DeQueen at 1:46 p.m. The shadow will move northeast until it exits the state near Pocahontas at approximately 2 p.m. The period of total darkness for any particular location along the center of the path will be just over 4 minutes and nearly 2 minutes along the edge of the path. Before I describe the impact to our state, I want to quickly cover the types of eclipses as shown here on the right side of the screen. There are partial, annular, and total solar eclipses. Annular eclipses are less rare and do not fully cover the sun. There was an annular eclipse earlier this month, October 14th, that went from Oregon to Texas but it also provided a partial eclipse in neighboring states like Arkansas. So the difference is the upcoming April 8th total solar eclipse is much more rare. The last total eclipse in Arkansas actually occurred in 1918, over 100 years ago. And interestingly, newspaper articles show that it was cloudy that day, so nobody could see it. However, there was a total solar eclipse in August of 2017 that was visible from Oregon to South Carolina, but not in Arkansas. This eclipse was dubbed the Great American Eclipse, and it received unprecedented public interest, media coverage, and a record number of travelers and resulting traffic jams in many areas across the U.S. The 2017 eclipse generally lasted for 2.5 minutes max. Compare that to the upcoming eclipse we will have that will last over 4 minutes in Arkansas. So a record number of tourists are expected to travel to view the 2024 eclipse, likely making it the largest tourism event in Arkansas history. Because a total solar eclipse is the most dramatic celestial event that many people will ever experience, visitors are planning to drive and to fly into our state from all over the country. So looking back at the 2017 eclipse, many states experienced these record book traffic jams. This photo was on I-75 between Atlanta and Chattanooga, and it shows the congestion that was occurring just the weekend prior to the eclipse. An article quoting the Wyoming DOT from 2017 stated afterward, "Our highway system was taxed like it has never been before. The roads were just not designed for that volume of traffic, as they experienced multi-hour backups." You can see similar articles from Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, and more that describe miles of congestion on many routes, particularly immediately following the eclipse. So in Arkansas, 1.5 million people are expected to travel from outside the state into our state, along with 500,000 Arkansans projected to travel from their residences to the path of totality or total darkness, for a total of 2 million people traveling to the viewing areas. So Arkansas is one of 15 states that will experience the total eclipse, so why would so many visitors come to Arkansas? Well, first, our state is more centrally located than many other states in the eclipse path. 2/3 of our state will be in the path, which will run through the center of Arkansas, again from southwest to northeast. As you can see on this map, this shows the typical light pollution from cities in our country and the population density. So our natural state will provide some of the best viewing in regards to lack of light pollution from the Ouachita Mountains to the Delta and the Boot Hill farmlands. And you can see it here in the darkness in the middle, as that's a big part of our state. So people really want to come, even though this is during the day, it's going to go totally dark, street lights will come on, and they want to really experience that total darkness and get in some rural areas. So this map shows the shortest drive from parts of the U.S. to the eclipse path in April of 2024. So note this blue area highlighted. It ranges from as far out to Washington State to Denver, down to Alabama and parts of Florida. For all of these areas in these states, Arkansas actually provides the shortest drive from where they reside to the eclipse path. Not to mention Arkansas is a great place to visit. Here's just a list, non-inclusive, but a great list of some places to visit and view the eclipse, and it kind of shows the time of total darkness during the eclipse. So you can see on the list the times vary from 2 minutes to over 4 minutes, and this depends on how close to the exact center of the eclipse the city is located. And so for the die-hard eclipse folks, they really want to be, even though the whole state or the path is going to have total darkness for a portion of the state, it's that very center that's going to experience the longest time of total darkness. So with this large influx of visitors, we're going to have a significant impact on our roadways. Major traffic congestions expected, disrupting normal flow on our interstates, highways, city streets, and county roads. So with the lessons learned from the 2017 eclipse, RDOT began in May of this year working on a written traffic management plan, while various RDOT staff have been involved in coordination meeting with other state agencies such as the Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, Department of Public Safety, Arkansas State Police, Department of Emergency Management, and more. RDOT maintenance Division and Planning Division teamed up and partnered with some consultants, Garver and Alliance Transportation Group, to develop a draft traffic management plan, or as we call it, a TMP. So this TMP will be used as a guide to help our public officials and various state agencies to prepare for and manage this expected increase in traffic volumes leading up to, during, and after the eclipse. So one of the keys to developing this TMP was creating a travel demand model for this traffic forecasting. So there are a lot of inputs for this model, and I'm not going to try to explain them all here, but one important factor is where these out-of-state travelers are coming from and traveling to. And using data such as from state park reservations already made, we were able to estimate where travel's originating from. Note the points on the map, there's little dots, and these are actual reservations and travelers that we have information on that are traveling from all over the country. So using this type of data, we were able to do percentage breakdowns of the expected 1.5 million visitors, and then we can better estimate traffic conditions based on our highways. And so the different colors are the percentages of where they'll come from entering the state, and then you can really get a better feel for what the traffic conditions are going to be like. So this map is actually from page 5 of the draft TMP. We've got a blow up here on the side as well. This is the result of the travel demand model, and it displays routes in Arkansas with the highest anticipated traffic volumes to aid in our planning efforts. So the impacted highways, we divided into 4 categories. Extreme in purple, very high is in red, high in orange, and significant in blue. And it's probably hard to see on the screen, but some of the purple areas are Highway 70 from there at Benton over to Hot Springs. We've got I-40 heading toward I-49, 65 north of Conway. These are the routes that the travel demand model is predicting to have extreme traffic. So system mitigation efforts will vary depending on these groups, with the most focused attention given to the higher prioritized groups. Now keep in mind, this travel modeling is kind of like a weather forecast. Just like it's difficult to predict exactly how much snow is going to fall in a certain area, it is impossible to predict human behavior. So here are some of the travel demand reduction strategies that the draft TMP outlines. First, stay a while. Data from the 2017 eclipse in other parts of the country suggested that 80% of the traffic is expected to leave immediately after the eclipse passes over. So encouraging travelers to stay put for a while after the eclipse will minimize congestion. Many cities and our state parks are planning to continue their festivals after the eclipse is over. Promoting these activities will be beneficial to reducing concentrated traffic demands. The post-eclipse visitor rush will also coincide with the afternoon commuting peak, furthering traffic congestion. Where the work type allows, businesses and employees alike may be best served by folks working from home that day. Some schools have already closed in anticipation of this traffic congestion and to give parents and children the opportunity to experience the eclipse together and avoid the logistical challenge of operating schools and buses on this day. So RDOT will be sharing these projections and other data with the Arkansas Department of Education to aid in their decision making on school closings. RDOT, what we can do is we can limit the issuance of oversized load permits on that day leading up to and after the event. We'll be alerting the Arkansas Trucking Association and other entities to give them ample time to adjust their schedules. Another thing we're planning to do is to coordinate with the Arkansas Trucking Association in an effort to encourage truckers to adjust their schedules so they're not trapped on our roadways with this eclipse traffic. A truck holiday, as we're coining it, will be a voluntary decision on the part of the commercial truck drivers with no penalty for those who decide to operate during the eclipse. In addition to the traffic demand reduction strategies, the TMP, or Traffic Management Plan, also considers traffic flow enhancements. So I want to highlight a few of these strategies here. RDOT will reduce activities such as lane closures on our construction and maintenance projects. We're further analyzing these bottleneck points shown on the maps on these routes with the highest projected volumes. So over the next few months leading up to April, RDOT will be coordinating with local agencies, law enforcement, emergency services. We'll be sharing this TMP and our traffic projections map and working together to further identify and develop countermeasures to mitigate bottlenecks such as traffic signals, intersections, and such. RDOT will be working with the Department of Emergency Management, State Police, and our Highway Police to pre-position staff along key routes to help maintain traffic flow and minimize disruptions. Our Traffic Management Center, or TMC, has been described already today. They will have an integral role in coordinating our efforts internally and with other agencies to provide traffic updates, assist with dynamic message boards, incident management, communication for RDOT, for our law enforcement, emergency responders, and our local agencies. Another important component of our eclipse planning will be our communications team. Most of our public will not be expecting the extreme traffic congestion caused by this eclipse. RDOT's Communication Division will be developing a public communications plan related to the anticipated travel conditions to accompany our 2024 solar eclipse TMP. This will help relay important strategies to encourage people to be prepared and to reduce travel. The strategies discussed in the TMP will help our public officials, agencies, to understand the expected travel conditions following the eclipse and then aid in making decisions and avoiding and mitigating these extreme traffic congestion and delays. So this concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Get ready here. Each of you've got your solar glasses in your bag, so you will be ready on April.
You can't see very well in here.
No, sir.
So we've had a lot of talks about this, and the thing that I just would like to emphasize is our main goal is to manage expectations, because if we can do that and we can remove as much traffic, regular traffic, off the road as possible, and people realize you're just going to be stuck in traffic and that's just part of this, and manage those expectations, in the way I'm looking at it, we need to try to keep this from being a traffic nightmare and just turn it into a bad dream, because it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a lot of traffic. It's going to be difficult to get from one place to the other. But if we can do it right, we can minimize as much as possible. So maybe instead of a 7 or 8 hour delay, it will be a lot less. And I see Joseph's here from the governor's office. We've had some meetings with him, and actually, I was invited to a meeting with the governor and all the secretaries to talk about this very issue. So what I'd like to ask right now, I sent you the traffic management plan a few weeks ago for you to review, and I'd like a motion for us to take that from draft and call it final. It's not final, it'll be a living document as we learn more and more, but I would like to distribute that without the word draft on it, if that's all right, if I could have a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion and second?
Second?
Second, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, good. So we'll keep y'all, and that's going to be on our updates from now on, just to keep that and where we're at and what we're doing, and so you guys know what's going on.
I'm really impressed with the information and everything that was put together. Is there some way we could make that a resource for whatever, news agencies or parks and tourism or whatever, to be able to utilize that and get the information?
Well, the traffic management plan that we
Yes.
sent, now that you've given me approval, that's going to go out to everyone, and we'll continue those conversations. Is it monthly or week? How often are you meeting with Parks and Tourism?
It's usually monthly, but we'll distribute, now that it's been approved, we'll distribute the management plan to the media agencies, and we're doing at least 4 or 5 interviews a week regarding this.
That last slide, it's kind of alarming with the sign. Do other states see people just stop on the highway or pull off on the highway during the eclipse?
Yeah, that's been one of the first things we did, is communicate with the states in 2017 that experienced the full eclipse. And as the director said, it's about managing expectations. We're going to see that. We're just trying to get the word out as much and as quickly as possible to handle that.
That's crazy. I know.
Well, as we said earlier, you cannot predict human behavior. So, is that all we have on that? I'm going to go on to recent department activities. Okay. Okay, so I spoke at the Arkansas Concrete Conference in Hot Springs on August 23rd and just gave them an update on what's going on around the department. It was a great conference, and we were glad to be part of that. As you all are well aware, we just named Highway 167 after former Commissioner Madison Murphy at that September 19th ceremony. It was a great day. It was almost like a family reunion. We had
Roll the slide.
Thank you. It was like a family reunion. We had ex-directors there and ex-employees. We had former commissioners there, quite a group assembled to honor Madison Murphy and all the work that he put in, especially on the temporary half-cent sales tax that was passed in 2012. So it was a good day. You know, his big focus in getting that half-cent sales tax passed was to promote the 4-lane grid system, and because that passed in the Connecting Arkansas program, the state has made huge progress towards that 4-lane grid system that was put together as a planning tool. And Highway 167 was one of the highways on that 4-lane grid system that connected El Dorado to an interstate, Interstate 530. So it was a great day and a good time to say thank you and acknowledge the work he did for the state. We also had the Transportation Planning Conference. You'll notice there, and there's Joe right there. I was at that particular technical session, and now y'all can claim PDHs. You know, you can get your personal development hours, is that what? So you can be sure to keep your licenses up because you had that presentation. But anyway, it was a great conference. We hadn't had it in a while, so it was well attended. We had some really great technical sessions. We had about 170 attendees, and we appreciate all of our private sector vendors who came and had booths there, and that helped us to fund this. Alliance Transportation, Garver, HAF, High Street, HNTB, ORC, and Inline. All of those had booths at that conference. So anyway, we're back on track with that. Every 2 years, I believe, is how often we hold that. Every year I'm invited, or the director of RDOT is invited to speak, be the lunch speaker at the Conway Business Expo. And so this year I spoke to that group, and we talked about, guess what, roundabouts, because Conway, you know, they want to be the king of roundabouts in the city, in Arkansas, in the state of Arkansas. And so I'm going to show you part of what I talked to them about at that meeting.
Roundabouts are becoming more and more popular in intersection design projects. You might be wondering what they are and how they work. A roundabout is essentially like a revolving door, but for cars. It's a circular intersection with non-stop traffic traveling counterclockwise. Roundabouts are becoming more widely used because they're safer, easier to maintain, and they keep traffic moving better than a stoplight. Roundabouts experience about 35% fewer crashes than a comparable traffic light, and those crashes are far less severe. There are 76% fewer injuries and 90% fewer fatalities. This is because the tight circle of a roundabout forces drivers to slow down, and severe crashes like head-on collisions are unlikely due to the one-way flow of traffic. Not only are they safer, roundabouts are also more cost-effective because they require less maintenance than a traffic light. So how do we drive in them? When approaching a roundabout, yield to any vehicles coming from the left. When the coast is clear, you can enter. When you've reached your turnoff, exit on the right. Traffic moves continuously within the roundabout and does not stop, so you can enter and exit in one fluid motion. Here are a few things to keep in mind. Slow down and pay attention to signage and pavement markings. Once in the flow of traffic, do not stop. And remember to yield to pedestrians when entering and exiting a roundabout.
So that was very well received by the Conway Expo attendees, and I thought it was a well done. I'll say I've showed 3 videos today, and I just want to say our new videographer, he's kind of new. You haven't made it a year yet, have you? He is doing a fabulous job, and I also want to congratulate you. You just got married, is that right? So, thank you. But he's doing a great job making the RDOT look good, so thank you, Tim McCourt. So just yesterday, we went to the Hot Springs Bypass ribbon cutting. That was a great day, well attended. And then the Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce had the Commission Appreciation Lunch, and we appreciate them appreciating the Commission, and we all appreciate what's going on in Garland County, a lot of good things. A statistic that came out that I wasn't aware of, but they have 9 million visitors a year in Garland County because of the lakes and the Hot Springs National Park and everything going on. So we love going there. They're very appreciative of everything that they get, and we also had, Patrick Schick, in memory of Tom Schick, who was a former commissioner and very much an advocate with what was going on in Hot Springs. So it was a great day, and we enjoyed it. And after the big ribbon cutting, we came back to the office, and we had a signing for the record of decision for future Interstate 57. And that is a monumental milestone for that interstate in northeast Arkansas. And Alec did the honor. We all did the honors of signing it, but he's in the center on this picture because we see. Did y'all see the press release yesterday, Chairman?
Yes.
Did you?
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Oh, well, no, I just appreciate the effort. That was a team effort. A lot of people came together to make that happen. I just want to make sure and recognize we got representatives here from Senator Bozeman's office and Congressman Crawford's office, I know. Thank you guys for your work on that, and be sure and thank the big guys in the office there when you get back. I appreciate everything that was done, and I just think this is going to be a huge impact on not just Arkansas and Missouri and Illinois, but the Midwestern United States and through the South Central United States. It's opened up another corridor for traffic to get from the northern interstates down to the southern interstates.
And I'd like to recognize Federal Highway Administration, who were very instrumental of shepherding this through the process. We had to go through a change in rules and regulations as far as these environmental documents are concerned, and we were the first state to have a request like this under the new rules and regulations. And Vivian Wong, who's here today.
Thank you.
There she is. She's been so great. She's such a great partner with the department, and she helps us so much navigate through all the federal requirements that can sometimes be quite daunting. It's just a lot going on when it comes to federal rules and regulations. So this is a huge milestone, because once you get the record of decision, that clears the way for buying right-of-way and construction. So once you get this in hand, the rest is...
I'll just say one more thing, that there's an interstate crossing there on 57 across the Mississippi River, and as we've learned recently, those are worth their weight in gold, those interstate crossings. And so getting better connected to that bridge is also a benefit to the whole region of getting from one side of the river to the other.
That's true. So it's an underutilized bridge over the Mississippi River. This will allow it to be used more to its full potential. Okay, so real quickly, I have 4 different selections that I need to get approval for. The first is a construction manager general contractor selection for a job in Jonesboro. And just as a quick reminder, the construction manager general contractor selection is a qualification-based selection where we hire a contractor to come on board to help us design the project. And then at the end of the design and we're ready to take bids, they're allowed to bid on that project. We use an independent cost estimator that knows how to estimate a project using production rates and the way the contractors do it on that side. And so we're able to make sure we get the best value possible for the citizens of Arkansas. So with that, we've got a few projects we need to get approval for. The first is for a project in Jonesboro. It's Highway 1, and it goes from Interstate 555, Triple Nickel, down to Caraway Road. And we had 2 proposers on that particular CMGC, Construction Manager General Contractor, delivery method. And of those 2, we recommend beginning negotiations with Atlas Asphalt Incorporated. And I could...
I'll entertain a motion. I hear a second.
Second.
Thank you, Dave. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next project is on Highway 65B in Conway. It goes from Highway 60 over to Interstate 40. And on this project, we had 1 interview. We only had 1 proposer. And our recommendation is to begin negotiations with Redstone Construction Group Incorporated.
Once again, I entertain a motion for approval.
That motion.
And a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying...
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is that a red flag that you only get 1 proposal?
No, we just have so many contractors in the state that are interested and qualified to do this work, and it just fell that way. We've had, the first few jobs we had several proposers, and as we have awarded these projects, they're not getting on board for a second project till they finish the one they've got now. So it just kind of fell out that way. Redstone's a good company, and we're confident they'll do a good job.
That's okay. No problem at all. Go ahead. We had a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, it's time to update our on-call construction engineering and inspection services. We went out for a request for letters of interest. We received 11, and we have selected 6 firms to begin negotiations with. They're listed there on the screen. BGE Incorporated of Fayetteville, Garber LLC of North Little Rock, Jacobs Engineering Group of Little Rock, McClellan Consulting Engineers of Fayetteville, Michael Baker International of Little Rock, and Volkert of Little Rock. And with that, I'd entertain or ask for a motion to begin negotiations with those firms.
Do I hear a motion? Thank you, Keith. Got a motion and a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And then the last one is to update our list of on-call planning services. We received 9 proposals, and we recommend going into negotiations with all 9 of these interested firms. They include AECOM of Little Rock, Alliance Transportation Group of Austin, Texas, Burns & McDonnell Engineering Company of Springdale, Cambridge Systematics of Medford, Massachusetts, Garber LLC of North Little Rock, HDR Engineering of Little Rock, High Street Consulting Group of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, HNTB Corporation of Little Rock, and Olson Incorporated of Fayetteville. Need a motion for that.
Need a motion, yeah. Do I hear a motion for the recommendation?
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so upcoming events. The American Public Works Association, the Arkansas chapter, is meeting in Fayetteville tomorrow. I'm going to make the drive up there and present at the luncheon speaker. Is that right, Ronnie? So, looking forward to that. October 30th, I'm going to be meeting with Commissioner Hake and Senator Gilmore. Senator Gilmore of that area, the Crossett area, reached out to Commissioner Hake and wanted to set up a meeting. So we'll be at, it looks like there's two meetings, one in Crossett and one in Magnolia. I think he's bringing in local leaders to talk about needs and their vision for the future as far as transportation goes. So looking forward to that. October 31st, we've already mentioned this, but that's our winter weather tabletop exercise to make sure the department's ready to go when the winter weather hits this winter. November 1st is a bid letting. November 8th, the future of Van Buren and Interstate 49. Jared Wiley is going to be accompanying Commissioner Gibson on that meeting. November 10th is a state holiday, Veterans Day holiday. November 14th, I'll be speaking at the 2023 Annual Southeastern Asphalt User Production Group meeting. I have a PE board meeting on November 14th. November 15th is our Good Roads annual meeting. All of you are invited to that. That's the one they do every year, and this year I think they're going to be focusing on workforce development, retention, and those types of things. November 15th through 17th is the American Association of Highway and Transportation Officials, or AASHTO's annual meeting. Several of the staff will be at that for different roles that we play in that national organization. Then it's Thanksgiving. It's hard to believe we're talking about Thanksgiving already. And then our District Service Awards start. District 8 is November 30th. It's in Dardanelle. District 9 is on December 1st. December 4th is our Maintenance Division. And then December 5th is our Central Office Awards. December 6th is your next meeting. So it's rolling around quick. It'll be here. And here's a list of all of the District Service Awards between November 30th and December 19th. So we'll have that out to you so you can plan your schedules if you want to attend. Of course, we're always glad to have the commissioners there if they have the time and the ability to be there. Our 19th annual Southeastern Regional Rodeo occurred in September. Is that right? We came in fourth this time. Last year we were first place, which was a great honor. This year we came in fourth out of 13 states that were there. And we currently hold 7 championships, so we're doing pretty good. But this year we came in fourth, but there's always next year. We'll be in the top 3, I'm sure. So appreciate our group of maintenance equipment operators that go and represent us so well every year. And finally, I just want to give you an update of where we're at on some things we've been working on here at the department. But as you know, we've set up that worker memorial out in the lobby, and it's just a temporary memorial. It's the traffic cones with the banner on each employee that we've lost over time. And while that's, significant and it showcases these employees that lost their life in the line of duty, we want to do more. So kicking off with the District Service Awards, I'm going to be asking the employees if they would like to join me in an employee-driven, privately funded, permanent memorial for our fallen highway workers. And so we're working on that. We're going to have friendly competition between the districts who can, have those thermometers of how much money you raise. And it'll all be private funds and employee-raised funds to do a permanent memorial somewhere on our campus here where it's appropriate. But I just wanted y'all to know that that's going to be our focus in this year's District Service Awards to start that effort. And we've had, we're also going to do kind of a competition or a call for ideas, what it could look like. And we've looked at other states and their worker memorials, and some of them are pretty fabulous that look really nice. We like those, but we want to hear from the employees, what do you want it to look like? So we'll do that, and maybe we'll put together a little panel of judges. Maybe y'all would be able to participate in judging the different ideas and getting a cost estimate and those types of things. So we're excited about that, and that's going to be our focus during this year's service awards. So with that concludes our report, and I will turn it back over to you, Chairman Farmer.
It's a very thorough meeting. It dawned on me today as we've gone through the meeting. In my nearly 9 years on the commission, today's meeting exemplifies the strides this department has made in innovation, technology, transparency, customer service, employee and public safety. I mean, we covered everything today in this one meeting, and just all the things that have improved under your leadership. You should be proud, and the staff and employees should be very proud of the work that's being done here.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all I had to say. Hearing none.
Second.